Ernest Miller Hemingway was born on July 21, 1899, in Oak Park, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. He was the second of 6 children born to Clarence Edmonds Hemingway, a physician, and Grace Hall Hemingway, a musician. Both of his parents were well educated and encouraged their children to pursue their interests in the arts and outdoors, which profoundly influenced Hemingway's later life and writing. Hemingway attended Oak Park and River Forest High School, where he excelled in English and participated in sports like boxing, track and field, and football. He also displayed a talent for writing, contributing to his school's newspaper and literary magazine. After graduating in 1917, Hemingway chose not to go to college, a decision that led him directly into a journalistic career. At the age of 18, Hemingway started his career as a reporter for the Kansas City Star. The newspaper's style guide, which advocated for short sentences and vigorous English, influenced his writing style for the rest of his life. During World War I, he volunteered as an ambulance driver for the American Red Cross in Italy. In 1918, he was seriously wounded by mortar fire. His experiences in the war profoundly affected him and later formed the backdrop of his novel A Farewell to Arms. After the war, Hemingway returned to the United States briefly but soon moved to Paris as part of the expatriate community of writers and artists in the 1920s. His time in Paris was one of the most productive periods of his life, during which he was influenced by writers such as F. Scott Fitzgerald, Gertrude Stein, and Ezra Pound. Stein, in particular, became a mentor to him, introducing him to the modernist techniques that would shape his writing. Hemingway's experiences in Paris formed the basis for his memoir, A Movable Feast. During this period, Hemingway published his first major work, The Sun Also Rises 1926, a novel that captured the disillusionment of the post-war generation and made him famous at the age of 27. He also wrote Men Without Women 1927, a collection of short stories that included The Killers, which demonstrated his characteristic spare, tight prose. Hemingway's prolific career included many critically acclaimed and popular works. A Farewell to Arms 1929, which was inspired by his war experiences, For Whom the Bell Tolls 1940, based on his experiences during the Spanish Civil War, and The Old Man and the Sea 1952, a powerful story about an old fisherman's journey for redemption, which won the Pulitzer Prize in 1953. In 1954, Hemingway won the Nobel Prize in Literature for his mastery of the art of narrative and for the influence he had exerted on contemporary style. Hemingway's personal life was tumultuous and marked by his 4 marriages, first to Hadley Richardson, then to Pauline Pfeiffer, followed by Martha Gellhorn, and finally to Mary Welsh. Each of his marriages coincided with different phases of his career and life. Throughout his life, Hemingway had a great love for adventure and the outdoors, which is reflected in his works. He was an avid fisherman and hunter, and he lived in Key West, Florida, and later in Cuba, at his estate called Finca Vigia. Hemingway's physical and mental health declined in his later years, exacerbated by multiple accidents and chronic alcoholism. Ernest Hemingway died by suicide on July 2, 1961, in Ketchum, Idaho. Despite his tragic end, Hemingway's work remains influential. His economical and understated style, which he termed the iceberg theory, changed the landscape of American literature. His life and writings continue to captivate scholars and readers alike, and his approach to literature and life has cemented his place as one of the great American writers. Ernest Hemingway's life was as colorful and dramatic as his fiction, characterized by monumental literary achievements and a personal life marked by passionate adventures and profound tragedies.